Welcome to Return to Athens. Construction advances amaze Athens critics. We look into a new security measure and tour an Olympic museum. All that and more as we return to Athens. Firstly, a report by the International Olympic Committee's inspector, Dennis Oswald, has warned Athens not to become complacent in her preparations. In a written statement, Oswald warned organisers there could be no let-up in the hectic pace of Games preparations because meeting deadlines are still in the balance. With less than 200 days remaining, Oswald, who kept well away from the prying eyes of reporters during his two-day visit, said there was still a considerable amount to do. In contrast, Prime Minister Kostas Simitis spurned the critics and said Greece has proved the world wrong. He said the country was succeeding in its preparations for the event.
They said we were not capable of organising the Games, that they would take the Games away from us, that the construction, the building works, they would all never start or finish, and that the next generation would have to bear the burden of cost. We have proved them all wrong, and every day we continue to prove them wrong.
The biggest task and greatest concern for IOC officials is to finish a landmark glass and steel roof over the main stadium. Designed by famed Spanish architect Santiago Calatrava, the roof is due to be ready by May in time for landscaping works around the stadium. Other projects causing concern are the new subway train system that links the city to the new airport and a 24-kilometre tramway system that runs from central Athens to the sea. Culture Minister Evangelos Venizelos.
Yes, it is absolutely necessary to follow the progress of these works every single day. I completely agree with Mr. Oswald. We are on the same page, but I believe everything will be ready on time.
However, no matter how hard you try, not everything goes to plan. Female wrestlers in Athens for a test event were ordered out of their hotel when a health inspector found unsanitary conditions in the hotel's restaurant.
When there are controls, certain conditions apply. Some comply to those conditions, and of course some don't. There could be a problem today and not tomorrow, or no problems today, and then tomorrow one might just appear. That is why we have checks and controls, and why they have to be tough and continuous. Our policy is that these measures be immediate, and we agreed with the organisation to move the athletes from one hotel to another. This will continue, and of course it may happen again, as some hotels may not be able to meet our very high standards and regulations.
It's the second health controversy to hit the program of test events, after last year German rowers came down with food poisoning at their hotel in a major embarrassment for organisers. Olympic news now, and International Olympic Committee Vice President Kim Eun-yong has been arrested on charges of corruption. Kim Eun-yong has for some time been South Korea's leading sports official, an opposition politician and a powerful figure across the sporting world. Kim helped Taekwondo become a medal sport and played a big role in Seoul being awarded the 1988 Games. He's denied any wrongdoing, maintaining that he's the victim of a vendetta by politicians and sports officials. The charges reportedly include accepting bribes from executives who wanted places on the Korean Olympic Committee, embezzling funds from the World Taekwondo Federation, of which he was president, and using unauthorised funds to maintain sporting links with North Korea. To an update on Games technology, and is this image one of friend or foe? This picture of an unknown face fills the screen of a new type of camera that will be used to increase game security. The camera is so sensitive that it can pick up the heat signature of a person's finger on their face. It's part of a virtual fence made by an Israeli company, Controp, that will improve security around Athens ports and harbours.
Controp developed the CIDAR system to provide a virtual fence around a protected perimeter. This was chosen by Athens to be part of the protection system, part of an integrated program for the protection of the Olympics in the summer of 2004, whereby the system operates with two different cameras, a nighttime thermal imaging camera, otherwise known as a FLIR camera, which detects heat in a given object, and a daylight camera, otherwise known as a CCD camera, which can, again, detect the movement of certain beings in the perimeter.
With the current levels of global unrest, these Olympics are widely considered by security analysts to be more at risk of attack by militants than any previous games. As a result, Greece has planned one of the biggest security nets ever seen in the history of the Games. The new cameras will cover several of the country's largest ports, through which thousands of people will arrive for the sports and the festivities. The cameras will be the 21st century equivalent of the guard on foot. From a remote control booth, security officials will be able to make them scan a wide area. What makes them special is their ability to detect any movement from intruders, then zoom in on it, enabling security experts a chance to analyse the picture day or night. Security officials can also be automatically warned, while the camera can shine a narrow laser beam onto the subject to let it know that it's been spotted as a potential target.
The system automatically detects intruders and at the same time presents to the operator a static panoramic image which requires much less interaction and attention of the operator relative to other existing systems.
The cameras will also keep a special eye on the huge cruise ships that are to be deployed to house hundreds of thousands of spectators attending the Games.
Okay, the system, the Cedar and the Spider system, are designed to protect a variety of installations, both marine, land and air applications. We can detect boats in the water. For land applications, we can detect human and vehicle intruders within a defined perimeter. And for aerial applications, we can detect intruding aircraft. The system can be installed on any number of different installations of importance, including airports or any installation of high importance. The system creates a virtual fence around the area being defended and can detect intruders even before they reach the external fence surrounding the installation.
So, whilst you may assume that the person innocently speaking on a mobile phone poses no threat, the Controp Precision Technologies camera system quickly identifies if the bystander is friend or foe. With security advice from a 7-nation working group, the plan designed for the security and defence of the birthplace of the Olympic Games will allow Greek security to tackle any potential threat during the Games. Time for a Games fact. And did you know that Greece is spending a record 650 million euros, or about $838 million to protect the world's largest sporting event, mobilising 45,000 personnel. The massive force made up of 25,000 police, 4,500 fire brigade and coast guard members, 7,000 military personnel, and complementing them a team of 3,500 private security guards and 5,000 volunteers. Olympic hopefuls in the United States have welcomed their president's condemnation of drugs in sport.
This press conference is going to be a little bit different than the ones we usually have.
Athletes applauded the call for sports administrations to tackle the problem of illegal performance-enhancing drugs.
In other words, we're trying to help tell their story.
Amy Acuff, two-time Olympic high jumper with a string of indoor and outdoor titles to her name, was delighted the government was addressing the problem and was pleased that the finger of blame was placed across the board.
I think our system is really good in track and field. You know, we have testing, random testing. They can come any day of the year, anytime. And, you know, I just feel like we're doing everything we can. And it's just such a small minority of people that are, you know, trying to cheat. And you're always going to have those people, but you know, the fact that we caught those people is showing that the system works.
I think in every aspect of life there are always going to be people that cheat, and you just have to be steadfast in what you want to do, and regardless of what's going on, I'm going to do my best and I'm going to do it naturally, you know. Regardless of the situation of who's going to be positive, who's going to be negative, the Olympic Games are still going to be at the end of this year, and I want to be there, so I can't get caught up in the small things that are going on, and a level playing field can only help the sport, it won't hurt it.
US athletics was badly damaged by a rash of positive tests for the latest designer steroid, THG, which up until recently had been thought to be undetectable. The drug has turned up in the swabs of athletes from a variety of Olympic sports. For sprinter Justin Gatlin, the scandal is a reason to try harder, rather than be discouraged by the tarnished image of athletes.
Knowing that it's been a stereotype for us as sprinters and Americans, because a lot of them have tested positive. I just want to go out there and show the world, and I think a lot of us athletes out there want to show that we can do this, run amazing times, and catch the eyes of and captivate the audience by just not taking drugs, you know, just go out there and show them that we really mean business.
I think sometimes I wish I could speed the process up. But ultimately, you know, USADA, which is our drug testing agency here, they're an independent association. They really have very little relationship or very little contact with USOC or USA Track and Field. So we know they're not playing favorites. It's all anonymous anyway. So I think that the best part about it is that you know they're going to get the job done. It just may not be as timely as you want because of the legal circumstances surrounding it.
Therefore, the message is clear. If an Olympic competitor uses any performance-enhancing drugs, not only during the Games, but also prior to them, chances are any number of mandatory drug testings will eventually catch them out.
That steroid use by
athletes now subject to rigorous new testing rules.
We've been in an ongoing dialogue with the USOC beginning really last summer and continuing to present day, and I'm very confident based on those ongoing discussions that we will reach a resolution sooner rather than later of any of the issues that we have with them concerning drug testing.
Testing now carried out around the clock. While Olympics present battle the problems of drug abuse, Olympics past has lost one of its greatest. Francina Fanny Blankers-Koen has died aged 85. As a 30-year-old mother of two, Blankers-Koen made Games history by winning 4 of the 9 women's track and field events at the 1948 London Olympics. In the space of 8 days, Blankers-Koen took gold in the 100 and 200 metres, 80 metres hurdles and the 4x100 metres relay, running the anchor leg. No female athlete has ever achieved such a feat at a single Games. She's seen here speaking of the 100 metres victory.
And in the final I had a good start, and after 10 metres I think I win the gold medal.
In rare archival footage, the return to the Netherlands for Blankers-Koen in 1948 was one befit for a queen. Crowds lining the street to catch a glimpse of the athletic superstar, even as she departed customs, forced to show her array of gold to waiting officials. Blankers-Koen's Olympic career had been interrupted by World War II, when 2 of the Olympiads were cancelled, the first scheduled for London in 1940 and again in 1944. As a notion of goodwill and in what was a twist of fate, the 1948 Games were eventually granted to London. Amsterdam had also been under German occupation for much of the war, so the feats of a Dutch woman on the world athletic stage captured the imagination of a country. people singing the Dutch national anthem in the streets.
Oh, it was unbelievable, and it was very strange because they were not interested in the sport or in the track and field. And then there were so many people, and you are feeling like a queen. We had a car with 6 horses in front, and all people were clapping and singing, and that was quite nice. And, my world changed in that time, after the games.
Today, an athlete can earn millions and, should they reach the top of the podium, receive gifts from their compatriots. Not quite so in 1948.
A bicycle from the neighbours, from the street, because I was always, when I went to I had no bicycle after the war. And then I went to the track, was not so far, about 10 minutes by bicycle. And I took the bicycle of my husband. And you know what the difference is between the ladies' bicycle or the men. And then I had a child in the front and I had a child on the back.
The women's 80 metres hurdles, and watch Fanny Blankers-Koen of Holland, nearest the camera, jump into the lead.
London was not the first appearance of Blankers-Koen. In 1936, aged just 18, she was picked to join the Dutch team at the Berlin Games. Incredibly, by the time the Olympics resumed after the 12-year break, Blankers-Koen held 6 world records. Her achievements were honoured in 1999 when the IAAF voted her Female Athlete of the 20th Century.
There is a big difference between 48 in all the world and the Olympics. It is a job now, and money, and I think we had more fun in our sport than they have now.
Blankers-Koen set 20 world records in different events, including sprint, hurdles, long and high jump, as well as the pentathlon, and won 5 European titles between 1945 and 1950. Not all of today's athletes have an easy road to the Games. As a child, athlete Paul Tagat grew up in the poverty-ridden district of Baringo in Kenya, where he benefited from the World Food Programme's Global School Feeding Campaign.
Thank you.
The world marathon record holder used to struggle to make the 5-kilometre trek to school until the program began distributing free school lunches. Tagat eventually became a world-class marathon runner and is the favourite for the gold medal. Now 34, Tagat is able to show his appreciation to the WFP by becoming an ambassador against hunger.
Honestly, anytime that I visit maybe a school, anytime I visit maybe a children's home, it touches me. It touches me because I know where I came from myself. I came, as I said before, there's somebody actually, if it was not because of somebody else somewhere, probably I could be rotting somewhere, doing nothing, maybe being in the street, beating guys to survive, you know.
The 5-time marathon world champion and world record holder is currently in training for the Games, where he hopes to crown his outstanding career by winning the gold medal before retiring from Kenya's national team.
In marathon, anyone who has ever run anything to do like 2:12 and come down, don't forget that Olympics or any world championship is more of a tactical race. It's not the time, but the position. So most of the athletes will be going there. It's actually to make sure that they hand the best, the biggest medal for his or our own country. And I don't want also to be left behind. So I'm getting ready. My preparation is going on well, and I know the course is very difficult. Very hilly, humid, the weather condition will be very terrible in summer. But what can we say? We will be there and we are going to give our best that we can.
Tagat is the first man to run the 26-mile marathon in less than 2 hours and 4 minutes and has 2 Olympic silver medals. A gold would be a fitting end to a fantastic career. The city, known as the Big Apple, has become the new home of the American Track and Field Hall of Fame, located in a former shelter for the homeless. The museum and learning centre will feature interactive exhibits, films, memorabilia and other educational displays targeted specifically to prospective young athletes. Four-time Olympic discus gold medalist Al Orta believes the centre will help guide young athletes on their way to becoming Olympic competitors.
Yeah, hopefully the athletes that want to compete at advanced levels, not necessarily Olympics, but national levels, international levels, will come through here and look at the training regimens, the people that have advanced into world-class status, the people who paid attention to what they're doing, whether it be rest or nutrition or training or whatever, right? They can learn a great deal. This is a place for athletes, the Hall of Fame here, because it's a teaching place. This is a place where athletes can accelerate.
The museum features a day in the life of an athlete with Olympic track medalist Marion Jones. But the issue of performance-enhancing drugs also raises its ugly head.
Track and field was one of the premier sports in this country, and primarily because of drugs has slipped. Because everyone in every event is considered to be a druggie if they succeed. That's not true. But the perception is there. It'll take a long time to turn that perception around.
Others defended track and field's record in catching and punishing drug users.
We've caught people. Track and field will continue to catch people. I mean, that's unfortunate for those individuals, but I think that the public should applaud track and field for not being afraid to expose the truth and not being afraid to clean the sport up.
I have been involved in the sport for many, many years, and I know that the athletes that have been caught, it's the top of the iceberg, that there are more people out there. But I think that now these people are, kind of scared because the penalty is stronger, and the method they are using today to trace it is much more sophisticated than it was 5 years ago.
The $8.5 million Hall of Fame facility is expected to attract hundreds of thousands of visitors each year. New York beat several other large cities to land the hall. The museum has many interactive displays showing visitors how we as humans have defiantly got higher, faster and stronger as the Olympic creed demands. So as we creep ever closer to August, remember to keep watching Return to Athens as we bring you the latest in the behind-the-scenes news and views in the lead-up to Athens 2004.